What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? It's your boy Goblin, and today we're coming in with a hoot and a holler. Today, we're talking about the time that I sold one of my classmates some Adderall, and it went wrong. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Drop a like if you do, and also, don't forget to cop your Goblin merch today, baby. What we smoking on, that's only gas. Link at the very top of the description. We also got Goblin logo hoodies. We got the Let's Go Skiing hoodie, you know. We got the mugs. We got the phone cases. Everything's reasonably priced. Hey, cop some merch today. Links at the top of the description. Thank you guys for supporting. I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Subscribe if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's dive right into it. So, this happened back in my junior year of high school, and in my previous videos, pardon me, listen, dude, I can't really talk right now. I'm really baked. The dispensary had a pretty good deal where I paid like under $100 for a couple grams. It was packed pretty fat. It was like 2.3 grams of some 92% THC wax. And it's fire, dude. I took a fat dab of this shit. It's Bio Jesus. It's wonderful. I'm really baked. So listen, dude. In some states, that's a shit. Like in Colorado, that's a shit price. But in Illinois, if y'all know how the dispensaries are priced here, that's actually a pretty fire deal. And that's like out the door. Like literally, I paid like under $100 for this little sack of wax here. But either way, hey, let's dive right into it. So listen. This took place way back in high school, my gamers, and back at this point, I had a AP government class that I used to talk about a good bit in some of my videos. This class I never did well in, right? It was the only AP class I ever took throughout my whole high school career. I don't really know why I took it. I was given the option to just pick an AP class, and I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Like, for one class, I'm going to pick an AP class and just see what happens. So, I picked AP Government, and it went terribly. I've made quite a few videos about some of my shenanigans in this class. I mean, I passed out off the Xans in this class like 4 times. I've done a lot of fucked up shit in this class. There was a girl who I was assigned to a project with who I was really drunk one night, and I told her I was going on vacation, and she said how long, and I thought she was asking how long my penis was, and it got really awkward from there. We don't have to talk about that, though. But, hey, either way, listen. So in this particular incident, I had a classmate who we're going to call Ryan. Ryan was someone that I wasn't super close friends with, and he was your pretty typical AP government student, right? You know, he was a pretty nerdy guy. He kind of kept to himself. He did his work. You know, he's a funny guy. I liked him. Like, we sat close to each other. We talked a lot. I liked the kid. But he was not, you know, in the same kind of hobbies as I was, and, you know, I wouldn't consider him someone that I would kick it with outside of school, for the most part, you know? He did smoke a little bit of weed here and there, but very, very lightly, right? So, I'm chilling with him, and finals are coming up. This is towards the end of my first semester, right? Finals are coming up. And I've talked about this a lot in the past, but I had an Adderall prescription. My prescription was pretty heavy, right? I was actually prescribed to take 2 20-milligram instants and a 30-milligram extended, if I remember correctly, per day, right? So my schedule was I would wake up and take a 30-milligram extended, go to school, and then I'd get home, take a 20-milligram, do my homework, and then pop another 20 after my homework's done to focus on whatever else I'm doing through the night, you know? My ADD's pretty bad, so I had a pretty fat script. But instead of taking it as prescribed, of course, you know me, I'm selling it. So at this point, I was stockpiling most of my prescription because the finals were coming up. And during final season, as most of you guys might be familiar with, the price on Adderall and similar substances skyrockets, dude. I'm talking like, listen, man, any other part of the year, you could be paying like motherfucking $4 for some bullshit, you know, motherfucking $5, you know, whatever, give or take. I don't know what the Addy prices are now, dude. I don't buy them. I never did. I had a script, but I only taxed on them. I never actually paid for it. So I don't know the Addy economy. But listen, back then, you know, if it was outside of finals period, you'd get it for like $4 or $5. During finals period, I could charge 10 a pop and nobody would bat an eye. For the instance, the extended, I could talk people up to 15. There was a kid I got to pay 15 a pop on the extendeds one time for 3 of them, which was kind of fucked, dude. Hey, let me take a sip of my water. Hydration break. Okay, either way, so I'm sitting with Ryan one day, and it's coming pretty close to finals, and we're chatting about finals a little bit, and Ryan, listen, he was a nerdy guy, but everyone knew what Adderall was, especially the AP kids. If there's one drug you can ask the nerdy kids about, it's Addies, bro. Them motherfuckers know exactly what you're talking about. You could talk about any other drug. You could ask them about acid. None of them are going to know what you're talking about. They've never done it, you know? You could be like, yo, y'all ever done some blow? No, dude. They probably never been drunk, most of the people in those AP classes, right? But they know about that Adderall, boy. They can tell you from a mile away whether that pill's real or not, okay, bro? It's the one drug they abuse, okay? So I'm talking to him, and he brings up, he's like, yeah, bro, like, I need some Addies. And everyone in my class, you know, they knew I was the crackhead. I was the resident crackhead in this class. So if there was anyone that this class, like, this one class bought out all of my stockpile every year. I never really had to sell to anyone else. Like, if I needed to, I could usually always clear my whole script just within this classroom. It was awesome just for finals. Like, I would have, like, I would save up, because you have to remember, I would be getting 90 pills a month. So, you know, if I was pocketing even just 30 of those a month to save, dude, I could have 100 pills saved up by finals time, make some good money, dude. And I did. I would cut homies deals, but, like, bro, I would minimum during finals time make at least like 600, you know? To pay like 600 or 700. It depended, dude. It was tax time, bro. Like minimum 700. It was awesome. Back in high school, bro, that was a blast. That was 2 PlayStations. But either way, so we're chatting about this Adderall a little bit, going back and forth, and I'm like, yeah, you know, I could serve you some. Just I could bring it to school, you know. Let me know when you want that. And he's like, bro, you can't bring that shit to school. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, you can't like sell that shit to me at school, bro. Like, just hit me up on Snapchat or something. So I didn't have him on Snapchat at this point, so I bust out my phone, you know, he puts himself in. Later that day, we get out of school, and I hit him up, and I'm like, hey, do you want those Adderalls now? Like, how many do you want? We still haven't really figured that out yet. And he's like, yeah, I want 5 of them. Can you come drop them off? And I'm like, yeah, for sure. Drop your Addy, right? Hey, drop your Addy. Hey, you know what? I'm coming to drop the Addy, baby. So he wanted 5 of my 20 milligram, my instance, right? So I'm like, bet, bro, I got you, no problem. You know what? I'll run you 40. Listen, dude, highway robbery still, but like, it is what it is. You know, I was making good money. 2 Dubskis, that was fire. Back then, there was a nice 8th, some blunts, and that was also some McDonald's. You know, a little McChicken and a drink, bro. Can't go wrong. That was a night right there. So I went and I served him these, and I drive to his house, and I'm smoking a blunt on the way there, right? I spark up because I'm trying to be nice. I didn't really know the kid, you know, so I sparked up, and I figured if he comes to my car, I could see if he wants to hit it. So he comes out, and I'm smoking. I'm like, yo, like, do you want to hit this blunt with me? And he kind of looks at me, and I asked him as he was walking towards my car, and I remember he kind of like hesitated a little bit as he was approaching me, and then he was like, yeah, sure, you know. So he comes around the side, he hops in, and that caught me totally off guard. Like, I honestly was doing that as a gesture. I did not expect him to say yes, but he actually accepted. He comes and hops in my car, and he taps my blunt a couple times, and I was like, you smoke? And he was like, yeah, bro, like, I do, you know. And I was like, oh, like, how long? Like, I didn't know that. Like, you never show up to school baked, do you? And he was like, no, not really, you know. He was like, I only smoke on like, you know, nights and stuff. Like, I try not to smoke in the morning and stuff. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. You know, that's cool. You know, listen, man, it's always nice to discover a little low key smoker. You know, someone who's just some person you got a, you know, class with or you work with who you just discover like, oh yeah, they could hang. They could chief, you know. So after that, we're chatting it up a little bit in the car, and I'm like, yeah, bro, these are my personal prescription. And I showed him, I always had a picture of the prescription bottle on my phone, so I was showing him. I was like, yeah, bro, you know, like, these are my personal script, like, you're gonna love them. And they listen, boys, I've had a lot of prescription medications similar to Adderall, right? I've done Vyvanse, I've done Concerta, there's one that started with like an M, I think. It was like a relatively new one. I don't remember what it was called though. But I've done a whole bunch of different ADHD, ADD medications. Nothing quite hits like Adderall, honestly. Vyvanse doesn't. Nothing quite hits like Addy. It's different. I don't really know how to word it. But either way, so I tell him these 5. We tap this blunt. He only taps it a few times, then he tells me to kill it. You know, taps it like 3 times, and you know, he just kind of says his goodbye. He's like, "Yo, good looking, man. I appreciate you." And I'm like, "For sure, man." You know, we kind of dap each other up, and I send him on his merry way. I go back to my house, and at this point, I think we were like, what, 2 days out of the final? I'm pretty sure, if I recall correctly, it was like 1 or 2 days out of the final. But either way, I go back home. Final day comes up, right? I'm chilling. I end up going. My AP Gov class happened to be, I think it was my first final of the day at this point. So I go to AP Gov, and it's like 8 in the morning. And I remember I go in there and I sit down. And at this point, during the final, they had open seating, right? So, like, it's not like we had anything assigned. You could just go sit near pretty much whoever you wanted. So I go sit down, and of course, I find my boy, right? I'm looking around, I find my boy Ryan. I see him. I go sit with him. I'm like, Ryan, my man, dude, how are you? And once I get close to him, I realize I'm like, holy fuck. This kid's bussing right now. Like, listen. Sure, I was geeking at this point. Don't get me wrong. I popped one of my 30s and one of my 20s, but I didn't take as much as Ryan, and I did Adderall more. I had a tolerance. Like, I was prescribed it. In my opinion, I feel like it definitely affects people differently if they're not prescribed, if they don't actually need it for its prescribed use, if they're just taking it to do well on a test, So this, I can only imagine how this guy was geeking. But either way, I go sit, and I sit beside him. He's kind of like, he's towards the back corner. And I go sit beside him, and I'm like, bro, like holy fuck, like, you're bussing. And I just look at him, and he's sweating, dude. It is literally 8 a.m. It is cold in this classroom, bro. Like, this is first semester finals. This is winter, and this kid's dripping sweat, dude. And I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, oh my fucking god, boys, like this kid's lit. So I'm looking at him, and he's tapping his fucking pen, dude. He cannot stop doing shit with his hands, and we're conversating. Of course, I knew that I had to keep chatting with him. I was like, my conversation is probably the only thing keeping this guy sane. So we're chatting, right? And he's so fucked up, it's unbelievable, right? And the teacher's talking, right? And we quiet down. The teacher gets up and starts talking. She's like, oh, we're gonna begin so and so minutes, and she gives this little speech about how, oh, it's been great to have you guys this semester, yada yada. I appreciate you guys. You guys have been awesome so far this semester, and cheers, to another great semester, yada yada, all that bullshit, right? Before everyone actually showed up, and this kid's just getting progressively worse, like, literally. And I remember we're chatting, and I asked him, I'm like, bro, how many did you take? Like, what dosage did you take? And he was like, I took 3 of them. And I was like, what? Like, listen, that's a fat dose. Pardon me. That is a fat dose for instant release, boys. Like, that affects everyone differently. If you have a tolerance, some people that would barely even touch you. But for someone who doesn't take Adderall except for one time of the year, eating 3 20 milligram instant releases at the same time is cuckoo, because one of them leaves me feeling wired. One of them leaves me tweaking in my chair sweating, bro. 3? This man was cuckoo, but I asked him, I was like, bro, like, was it really just 3? Like, are you good, dude? Like, what the fuck's going on? And he was like, bro, like, also, like, I don't remember what but he mentioned he took, like, some prescription, too. I don't know what he had, but he was like, yeah, bro, like, I took my medication and shit. And I was like, oh, like, what, like, you mixed it with some shit? And he's like, yeah, bro, well, I had to take my medication. I was like, what the fuck did you, like, take? I don't remember exactly what meds he said. He didn't really get very specific about it. He was talking about his medication. But either way, the teacher finally starts talking, and she's like, we're going to be locking the door to the classroom, so if any of you have to go to the bathroom, do it now. And this kid's sweating so hard that there's like a handprint on his desk. Like, literally, he raised his hand to ask to get up and go to the bathroom, and there was like a little like moist handprint on his desk. And I was like, holy shit. This kid's fucking sent, boys, and he raises his hand, and he asks the teacher, he's like, can I go to the bathroom? And she's like, yeah, go ahead real quick, right? So he gets up, and as soon as he gets up, he just, like, you can tell this guy's about to yak. When you can see someone's body language when they get up in class, just the way they rush to the door, the way they kind of got their arm over the stomach, you're like, oh, homeboy's finna let it rip. Homeboy's yakking. That's exactly what I knew he was about to go do, dude. He gets up, he kind of keels over a little bit, and he's just sweating balls. He's looking pale, he's looking terrible. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, bro, like, this guy looks like shit. Like, why, like, listen, like, why did he take all 5? Like, this kid, like, I knew that this kid had been doing the AP shit for a minute. He knew about the Addies. He'd taken them before. So I don't know what happened this time around, Pardon me. My lungs are tingling. Hey, bro. Hey, that dab hit different. But okay, either way. Literally, like, like, the guy had experience, so I don't really know what he was up to. But I digress. So he goes to the bathroom, he dips out and he does his thing. And I'm chilling in class, kind of waiting for the finals to start. And he comes back. And he's a little less sweaty than before. It looks like he might have cleaned up, gotten a paper towel, wiped himself off, freshened up a little bit. And he comes back to the classroom, and I'm like, Ryan, bro, like, as soon as he sits down, the teacher starts talking about the rules for our fucking final, and I'm talking to him through it. I'm like, Ryan, are you good, bro? Like, what's up, man? Are you straight? And he's just so fucked up, bro. This guy was so goddamn lit. It was unfucking believable. So I was like, damn, Ryan, like, you're kind of like, you're going cuckoo, right? So we take our final. We go through the final, and he's just like, I kind of look over at him the whole time. I'm glancing over, and he's just not doing well, bro. Like, he doesn't look good at all, So we finish our final up, Obviously, it's not like we can talk. And it was like, I think it was like a 90-minute period we had to do it. 60 or 90, I'm not exactly sure. But we finish up our final, turn that in. After that first period, the bell rings, and we go out into the hall, and we're chilling a little bit. And we've got some time before our next final starts, because the final, I think the increments between them were like something like 10 minutes or something, as opposed to like a normal class having 2 minutes between it, So we got in the hall, and I'm like, yo, like, are you, like, how you feeling? Like, are you straight, bro? Like, how did you, how'd you feel? Like, what happened when you went to the bathroom? He's like, oh yeah, I threw up a little bit, bro. And I'm like, damn. And I'm talking to him a little bit, and I was gonna offer him a ride home, because I was like, dude, if you go at the same time as me, like, if you need a ride, like, I got you. I don't know how you got here, but I was just kind of like, hey, you don't really seem good to drive. And he was like, oh, I got to leave after the next period. And I had one more final, He had like a free period where he got to leave early that day, and I didn't. So obviously that wasn't going to work out. But dude was fucking zooted, dude. He's sweating balls out there in the hallways too. Like, he was still dripping in the hallway. I remember we were sitting there chatting. I was like, bro, you shouldn't have taken 3. And I was like, why? Like, why'd you take that many times? And he's like, dude, I needed to pass that gov final, bro. And I was like, did you? And he was like, I don't fucking know, dude. I remember particularly, he was like not confident about his gov final at all, bro. That man did not listen. That man had almost zero faith that the Adderall did him right, which I can't blame him, dude. If I'm sitting there sweating bullets in class, I'd be on the same fucking boat as him. But hey, dude, it is what it is. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate you guys for watching this video. Drop a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already as well. Thank you guys for tuning in. Copy your merch. Link to the top description. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.